right, this is the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. My name is Michael Rapaport, a.k.a. the Gringo Mandingo. And on today's podcast, I got the great Sam Cassell, NBA champion, Houston Rockets. I mean, iconic legend, NBA, so well respected. Probably won't make it to the Hall of Fame, but he has like Hall of Fame respect amongst his peers and amongst his proteges. He's now a coach, assistant coach under Doc Rivers for the LA Clippers. And I've been looking forward to talking to this dude for a long time. I'm going to be honest, I didn't know much about Sam Cassell until he lit my New York Knicks up in the 93, 94 Houston Rockets versus the New York Knicks NBA Finals. It was painful to watch. That was the series where the O.J. Simpson chase, the white Bronco chase, was taking place while the game was going on, I believe, in the Garden. Talked to Sam about that. Talked to him about the all-time trash talkers. Talked to him about the greatness of Hakeem Olajuwon. Talked to him about mentoring John Wall. He mentors Austin Rivers, who was also on the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. David gave a dope interview. And I mean, he talks about growing up in Baltimore. This is an NBA extravaganza. 5-course meal. We could have went on for hours. I literally could have went on for hours talking to him. So Sam Cassell is coming up on the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. This episode is sponsored by MeUndies and the LA Clippers. I want to talk to you about MeUndies. I am wearing MeUndies now. I'm in New York City right now. Okay, it's springtime. This is swamp ass season. This is when you need to have your underwear game correct, your underwear game situated. I just came out from the streets of New York, and you know I'm real serious about swamp ass. My MeUndies are changing my whole life. I'm comfortable. I'm cool. I look good. I feel good. They're so soft, so comfortable. You need to elevate your underwear game to the next level also with MeUndies. Okay? You could save money and time each month with a monthly subscription. They're made in LA from sustainable, sourced micromodal. That's a fabric that's 3 times softer than cotton. All right? MeUndies is softer than cotton. All right? I'm actually podcasting right now in some MeUndies lounge pants, which I gifted to the entire LA Clippers roster. All right, I gave the entire LA Clippers roster MeUndies, and they made them extra long to fit the tallest of the tall NBA players. All right, the last time I saw DeAndre Jordan, as God is my witness, he said to me, "Yo, Mike, thanks for the MeUndies." Okay, that's a fact. He said, "Yo, Mike, thanks for the MeUndies." You can save time and money each month with a monthly subscription to MeUndies. If you're not ready for a subscription, that's okay. You can still save, and it's worth it because MeUndies is offering you 20% off your first pair. Just use the special URL, MeUndies.com/Clippers, and get 20% off your first pair. Go ahead, revamp your underwear drawer. You deserve it. Again, that's MeUndies.com/Clippers. MeUndies.com/Clippers for 20% off your order. I'm wearing my MeUndies lounge pants right now. They're fantastic. They're soft. They're comfortable. And they're not like, at my calf, okay? They're made long to fit the tall, to fit the short, to fit the very tall. On the next episode of the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast, me and G Moody will be rocking live here in New York City together. We'll probably be in the streets of New York. As you know, the tour is taking place. We're going to be in San Francisco at the Chapel, May 9th, and then in Seattle, May 11th, and then we're going to Canada, okay? May 13th, Vancouver. I cannot wait. All tickets are available at www.IamRapaporttour.com. That's www.IamRapaporttour.com. Every time I say www now, I keep saying to myself, why the fuck do you keep saying www? Because I know I could just say IamRapaporttour.com. I'm like stuck in like the 90s. So before we get to this Sam Cassell interview, which is oh man, it's like steak and lobster, whatever you're into. Maybe you're vegetarian. It's like the best mushroom you've ever eaten. It's like a fantastic chocolate chip cookie, a great sushi dinner. This interview with Sam Cassell is dope. Trust me. One of the great shit talkers to ever play the game. And he wasn't a shit talker like me. He could actually back it up. The playoffs are underway. The non-consequential regular season MVP votes are in. And as I said before, it's a joke. Who cares? Russell Westbrook will be the regular season MVP. His team will be eliminated. Unfortunately, this is not a shot at you, Russell Westbrook. You killed it. He will be the regular season MVP. And if I was him, I wouldn't show up June 26, 2.5 months after the fact to collect my regular season MVP. Okay? I'd be in Bermuda or some unknown island, St. Croix, or I don't know where the hell you go if you're Russell Westbrook in the offseason after you average a triple-double. But he deserves to go wherever he wants. Cannes, south of France, Spain. The last place I'd want to be is coming back to collect my regular season MVP after being eliminated in the first round. Unfortunately, that is what is going to happen to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and I'm rooting for them, but that's just the way it's going to go down. Poor Isaiah Thomas for the Boston Celtics. Really feel bad for this kid. Obviously, he's a great player. MVP, regular season MVP contender as well. His sister passed away in a car crash 2 days before his opening game in the NBA playoffs. And, so that was a terrible thing that he dealt with. I got to say, the coverage of it made me, I felt like it was exploitive. Every single channel, every single Instagram page. Why are you showing him breaking down, him crying? You want to show that on your page to get people to like it? Once you've seen it once, do you really need to keep showing it over and over and over and over again? How many times do you want to show this guy's private moment of him crying? And why are you retweeting that and keep posting it? Let him have his privacy. He's already in the middle of the world's eyesight. The NBA playoffs are going on. His team is an NBA contender. And then he has this tragedy, and everybody wants to keep posting this thing of him breaking down when he first hears about his sister passing away. I thought it was ridiculous and over the top. I don't get it. I really wish him and his family the best, and hopefully he could focus on basketball when he's on the court as a little safe haven. Because I'm sure whatever he's going through and his family's going through is unthinkable and unimaginable. I believe his sister was 22 years old, but I think the coverage is a little bit over top and in my opinion, exploitive. What else is going on? Phil Jackson, yo, I got a message for you, man. Phil, I've said this once, I've said this twice, I've said this 3 times. I fuck with you, Phil. Obviously, like everybody else, I'm a fan, greatest coach of all time. But what you did last week was disgusting, despicable, and totally unprofessional. At the season-ending press conference for the Knicks, Phil Jackson, who hasn't spoken to the press, and I think the last time he spoke to the press was the opening season press conference and nothing in between. I really think that when the Oakley situation happened, James Dolan should have forced him to go out and talk to the press, talk to the fans, talk to me, talk to my neighbor with their barking fucking dog. I got a neighbor in New York City with a dog. It's like one of these 15-pound dogs, if that. Fucking thing doesn't shut up, attacks everybody on the elevator. But we all want to hear from you, Phil. Dolan, you should have fired him right there on the spot. Go talk to the fans about Oakley. Calm people down. No, you're fired, asshole. You're fired. And then at the closing press conference for the season, Phil Jackson is going to throw Carmelo Anthony under the bus and say he'd be better off playing somewhere else. Whether or not this is true, whether or not Carmelo hasn't lived up to your expectations, the fans' expectation, that shit was so unprofessional, so uncalled for, so disrespectful. To air him out, terrible. No one can stand by it, Phil. You don't make yourself look better by shitting on other people. Trust me, I know. I shit on other people all the time. I know it doesn't make me look better. I might kick the truth. You might have been kicking the truth, impartial. But if you want to trade Carmelo, bring him into your office, man to man, and talk to him about it. Trying to, shame him out of New York. If I'm Carmelo Anthony, I tell Phil Jackson, fuck you. You, motherfucker, signed the contract that gave me a no-trade clause. I ain't going anywhere. You got a problem with me? You get the fuck out of town. Again, I love Carmelo. I love Phil. I think Carmelo is not the answer to the Knicks winning, but I would never shit on him like that if I was Phil Jackson. The reason why the Knicks aren't winning is because we don't have the personnel. The reason why the reason why the Knicks don't respect Jeff Hornacek and did not respect Derek Fisher is because they are puppets for Phil Jackson. They're running an offense that Phil Jackson is the only person alive besides Tex Winter who can articulate it. They're literally puppets. So, of course, these players are not going to respect the coaches. If I'm James Dolan, I get rid of Phil Jackson and I revamp again. I get rid of Phil Jackson over the summer. I get rid of Hornacek over the summer, and I revamp again. It's not going to happen. Porzingis even said, fuck that. You know, at the end of the season, all the players have a closeout meeting where they go meet, they talk to the coach. Porzingis said, fuck that. Going back to Latvia. I'm done. I don't need this shit. Now, if you leave New York City in the spring to go out to leave to go to Latvia, you know you want to get the fuck out of here. He left the country. Okay? Because I've never been to Latvia. I don't know much about Latvia, but I guarantee you it's not the most inviting place in the world. I could be totally wrong. I could be totally speaking out of my ass. There could be great islands and beautiful buildings and cities out there. I could be totally wrong, but I'd be willing to make a hefty bet that I'm right. But even Porzingis, who's now 21, was like, fuck this. He figured it out. This is a joke. This is dysfunction at the highest professional level, from the top of Madison Square Garden to the bottom of the bowels of Madison Square Garden. The Knicks organization is dysfunctional. This is the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. We'll listen to a little funk, and we come back, me and the great Sam Cassell.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
This is the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. I'm excited about this one because I like to talk shit. And I love having people that may like to talk shit even more than me. And this is one of the world's best renowned NBA shit talkers and players. See, I talk a lot of shit, Sam, but I couldn't back it up when it came to the court.
Yeah.
So I just kept talking shit to confuse you. But I'm here with Sam Cassell, NBA champion. I mean, shit, you talk about, respect. Mm-hmm. Sam Cassell has it all. Assistant coach of the L.A. Clippers.
Yeah.
How you feeling, Sam?
Wonderful. Wonderful, man. I'm blessed. I'm happy to be here, getting ready for this playoff run tonight, soon, this weekend. Just looking forward to it. Try to turn this thing around for us and try to win an NBA championship, bring a championship to the Clippers.
All right, I'm going to stay on the Clippers before I get into you because your career, to me, is so iconic and so unique and so long, and it spans so much time. And now that you're still coaching, you saw such a crazy change and evolution, good, bad, and indifferent in the league. But let's just go to the Clippers. Mm-hmm. You are known to be ice cold, relaxed from the beginning when you're with Houston. Now that you're a coach and you see these guys, you got vets, you got some young dudes. What's your disposition as a coach? Do you still get excited? Do you still get nervous? I mean, you never seem to be nervous as a player. With this team right here, you guys have had some highs for this season. You had lows. I feel like you're playing your best ball now. Where are you at as an assistant coach in the Clippers? How do you approach it?
Well, I feel right now my approach is very positive with our ball club. Like you said, we're in a great place right now. Our spirit of our team is great. I think from day one, our team wanted to go from November to April. unfortunately, we had December and January and February and March that games had to be played. But now where we want to be at, it's playoff time now. It's our last regular season home game, and we just gearing up for the playoff. This team is built for the playoffs, and the playoffs is coming. We healthy. That's been our whole thing. Our health is the most important thing to us right now. And every team in the NBA has injuries, and injuries is a part of this game right now. So we at a point in our season right now where Blake is healthy, CP is ready, DJ is ready. We have all of them have little minor injuries that you get from a 82 game season, but we're in a great mindset right now. And when this team is in a great mindset, the sky's the limit.
Do you like the fact that you guys, it's weird because it's the LA Clippers and there's stars all over this team. It's Los Angeles, that you guys are sort of strangely under the radar. Do you dig that?
That's cool because I was mentioning the doc earlier today. This team reminds me of my second championship I won in Houston. We was the 6th seed, and no one even talked about us during the playoff run. We just kept winning and just kept winning and just kept winning until we got to the finals and we played a hot Orlando Magic ball club where no one gave us the credibility that they're not going to beat Orlando. They beat San Antonio. They beat Phoenix. They beat Utah. We beat 3 60-win teams that year in the playoffs to get to the NBA Finals, and no one thought that we had a chance to beat the Orlando Magic with Shaq and Penny and Nick Anderson, Dennis Scott. They had just me thinking about it right now, they had a crew. But we just played the game and gave ourselves the best opportunities to win, and we swept them guys in 4.
You swept them. I mean, that was like a learning curve for Shaq, and I mean, that was like a lesson. Hakeem, I mean, you guys swept that team.
And I had that same feeling about our team now that I'm just maybe just me. I might be the only one that felt that way, but I've been around this game a long, long time. I just have that same feel about our team right now. Our mind frame is great. We healthy. Guys understand what we've been through the course of 82 games. We lost our top 2 guys for like 30 games during the season, and still where we are right now is, it's boggling that, you take any team around this league, they lose their top 2 players. How would their season be?
Right.
You take Kevin Durant and Steph Curry from Golden State Warriors for 30 games. How would their team be? You take Damian Lillard and TJ McCollum from Portland. How would their team be? You take Russell Westbrook and whoever else off Oklahoma City. You take James Harden and whoever else from Rockets. How would they be for 30 games? So I think we're fine. I think our mindset is good, but we just got to play the games.
When I think back to those Houston Rocket teams, obviously the first thing I think of is the Dream Shake.
No doubt about it.
I think about you, who I was like, because I was versus my Knicks.
Yeah.
And I hold that resentment against you, Sam. Like, I'm looking you in the face right now.
I always have. Since I met you, you always have. Like,
I'm going to have that resentment. That's never going away.
Never going away.
Like, I love you. I respect you. But I have that personal resentment. Like, that's never going away. And things, I mean, we had our run in the 90s. But things haven't gone the Knicks' way. But I'm going to stay focused on you. That team, who was the leader of that team? What was the culture of that team?
Our culture were Hakeem Olajuwon was our leader, but he led by example. He was a man of short words, and when he did speak up, you knew it was real serious. So he led by example. He led by his play. He led by just his motivation to us. Like, come on, guys, I need y'all to help us win this. I'm gonna do what I have to do, but y'all gotta do y'all part. Help us win this. It was never I and him. It was always about us individual as a team. It's about the coaching staff. We gotta get this thing done together.
Who was the voice of that team? If Hakeem was the quiet leader, who was the let's go? Who was the voice? Who was the pulse?
We had a few out. We had Vernon Maxwell. We had Mario Ellie. We had Kenny Smith. Them guys was the guy. I was so young that I was just.
How old were you?
I was 22 years old.
Okay.
I was rookie year, so I was just so happy to just get on the court. You understand? My first season in the NBA, I didn't play my first 25 to 30 games because we went like 17-0. It was 22-1. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't get minutes at all. Scotty Brooks was the backup behind Kenny Smith. So I was the third guard. And I just wanted the opportunity. So when I got my opportunity to play, sitting on the bench wasn't too cool for me. So I just gave our coaching staff a lot to think about. When I played, when I got the opportunity to play, I just gave Rudy T, something to think about. Scotty Brooks was damn good, man. Scotty Brooks was a beast. People don't realize how tough Scotty Brooks was for him to be 5'10". We resemble each other. He was slow. He couldn't jump. He was quick. But he was tough, man. He was a tough little guy that I learned a lot from, man. He's just like, you can't take nothing off nobody, Sam. He was a white guy, small, but he was tough, and anybody put against him would tell you, like, he wasn't going to back down. He was going to pick you up 94 feet. He's going to pick you up for a court. He's going to do everything that you didn't want to deal with. That was Scotty Brooks.
Now, I don't even need to ask you about the Jet because he's my man and we see him all the time. And I was going to wait but you brought him up first. Vernon Maxwell. This is a dude who's like, he was on that list.
Yeah.
He was on that. I mean, when he came at Jordan, I was like, this guy's nuts. Because he was ready to get it on right there.
Yeah.
What is your memory of Vernon? Like, what was his real? Like, was Vernon Maxwell nuts? Was he tough? Was it contrived? Did he flip off? Like, was it a switch on and off? Like, what was Vernon Maxwell's deal?
He was very unpredictable. He was a guy that any small thing will set him off. And when he played against the top two guards in our league, he looked forward to it. He knew, like you said, Michael Jordan, Mitch Richmond, Reggie Miller, Clyde Drexler, them guys, he got up to play. Like, he respected them guys, but he felt deep in his heart that he was better than Michael Jordan. We used to always tell him, man, you crazy. He's like, no, I'm telling you, man, what can he do better than me, man? I was like, well, he can jump higher than you. Well, he can shoot better than you. He got a better post game than you. And he wouldn't believe it, but his competitive nature was like a Michael Jordan's. He competed. I think that's why Michael Jordan respected him so much, because he knew when he played against Vernon Maxwell that he was going to compete against him. Vernon wanted to fight him half the time, but that might be the only edge he had over Michael Jordan.
Right.
Jordan wanted to go play ball, and Vernon some nights wanted to be a fighter.
Right.
But Vernon could fight.
Right.
So he could fight.
Right.
Back then, fighting was a part of the NBA. Guys generally had dislike for each other. It's so different from today's game, but it's been 25 years later. Back then, guys really didn't like each other personally. Didn't know each other, but didn't like each other because you had a different color uniform on.
And sorry, so speaking of that, you see these kids today. I mean, how old are you now, Sam?
47.
47. I'm 47 too, man.
You're old. You're old now, man.
When you see these kids now, and I think a lot of it has to do with the AAU-ification.
Yeah.
They've known each other since they're 12, 13, 14, 15. You guys, I mean, you might have known some dudes, but a lot of these guys back then, they met on the court.
Yeah.
So, like, where Vernon's like, yo, I don't know this dude.
Yeah.
We didn't grow up together. I didn't sleep over at his house when we went to Vegas for some tournament. Do you think that is affecting the league? I call it the Skinnyjeanification of the NBA. But do you think that's affecting the league? Do you think it hurts it, that competitive nature? Like, when you see dudes hand clapping, playing patty cake before the game, they're not on the same team. Are you like, or you just have to get used to it and be like, yo, it's a different time? It's
a different time right now. I couldn't get used to that. But as a player, but now I'm coaching, you got to adjust to it. That's what it is. These guys spend a lot of time, with each other during the off season and during, night before the game. That's what they do now. So, hey, it's not for me to judge that, but I don't think me personally, how can you have a competitive edge against a guy that you got to go against the next night and you having dinner with them?
Right.
Never understood that. Like, I had some great friends in the NBA that I played against, like a Nick Van Exel, who's, we played against each other since junior college basketball, but it was never the night before the game, we hanging out,
right?
Because I knew that he wanted to kick my ass just as much as I wanted to kick his ass, so we can have bragging rights during the summertime. When we sitting around, having dinner, we talking about your boy, I killed you in Denver, I killed you in LA, So that was our own bragging rights, Dame Stoudemire, guys like that. We all lived in Houston during the off season, so it was like, man, you got up to play them guys. But the night before the game, I didn't want to see him. He didn't want to see me.
Right.
He might call me and say, I'm in town, give me a nice spot to go to dinner at, what I'm saying? I might shoot him a text then, but he knew after the game, we fine.
Right.
Especially if I won.
Right. Because so you talked.
Yeah.
Like you were a talker.
Yeah.
You talk trash. You never seemed like it was like personal in terms of. It was more basketball oriented.
Basketball wise. I never got personal. Like it was all basketball. I remember Gary Payton and myself got together and we played on the same team in Milwaukee.
Oh my God.
It was tough. We gave people the blues. We talked so much trash to guys, man. It was crazy. But it was never personal, but it was just basketball thing. Like, what you got? What you got? Bring me your best, And half the time, people tried to give us their best, but, we fought too.
Who are the lesser known trash talkers in the NBA? Like, obviously, you, GP is Hall of Fame first ballot player and trash talker. Who are the lesser known? Like, I was always surprised to find out Larry Bird was a big trash talker, and later on they were like he wouldn't stop. So who were the guys that you like? Yeah, he talked a lot, but he just no one really sort of noticed it.
Cliff Robinson.
Oh, okay.
Cliff had a way of just making a shot, man, just pissing you off. Sean Kemp.
Right.
Sean Kemp was a big trash talker.
He talked a lot.
Sean Kemp was a big trash talker that wasn't personal, just on the court. Like when you're good, you can talk.
How good was Sean in his prime? I mean. He had a run where he was the dude.
He was awesome, man. Like he literally couldn't be stopped. When he came to play, and he came to play quite often, he was a tough check. He was a guy 6'10", can handle the ball, can shoot the 15-foot jump shot, can finish with the best. And with Gary Payton on his team, throwing him these half-court lobs, man, and he was a showman. He was definitely a showman, and I enjoyed playing against him because he was a showman. He enjoyed the game. He was passionate about the game. Guys back then were so much passionate about the game. I just see guys, get so pissed off after a loss, man, where you didn't want. They was friends with me, friends of mine that I didn't want to speak to after we beat them because they were so pissed off that we beat them. You know what I'm saying? So I give them a couple of hours to cool off. Then I call them.
All right, Baltimore, D.C., that whole area. You're from B-More?
Straight out of B-More.
How do you wind up from Baltimore to junior college and then at Florida State? You're not a football player. What was the climate like for basketball in Baltimore? You guys got a whole who are the best known Baltimore, D.C., DMV, as y'all like to call it?
Well, it's so many of y'all, man, because it's so many of y'all. Like, you got the crop. It's from that area now. Like you got Kevin Durant, you had Michael Beasley. There's so many guys. Melo, can't forget him. He's from
Baltimore. Your era.
My era, you had guys like Reggie Williams, the late Reggie Lewis, Mugsey Bouges. These are all the guys that came out of my high school. David Wingate, myself. You had from DC, you had Walt Williams. It's just so many guys. Dennis Scott.
Right.
It's so. Listen, like. Adrian Dantley, it's just so many of them. It's just so many guys that you say he's from Virginia, like Allen Iverson, he's from Virginia. Like we had the late Len Bias from Maryland, so that it's a shame that people didn't get to see him play, man, because me growing up in Baltimore, watching University of Maryland play, watching them play in the summer league, you got like David Robinson, at the Naval Academy,
right? You were seeing all these dudes?
Seeing all these guys in the summer league.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Do you remember seeing Lenny play in the summer league?
Yes.
Urban
Coalition. We said the best summer league, all summer leagues in D.C. is called the Urban Coalition, where we had a saying up there, don't bring your name, bring your game. So you had so many like street guys from D.C. and Baltimore who had mad game, but unfortunately may got arrested or whatever, but still had game.
Right.
One of the great players from D.C. named Bootney Green. Man, he was awesome. I'm thinking with the Cheney State and Division II guy, but he was 6'3", 6'4". Like he can really, really, really hoop. So you played against him, you had to bring your game, like Sherman Douglas, you had Mark Tillman. You had so many guys, man. You had so many guys that can actually play the game of basketball at a high level, man, that it was crazy. Sometimes in some league, you might have, like, on one game, you might have, like, 10 pros out there playing ball. So if you lived in Atlanta, you heard about the Urban Coalition, that you had to be a part of it. The Summer League games were Saturday and Sunday. So it was phenomenal back then.
What was I think that Mugsey Bouges,
Yeah.
you know, he should be giving TED Talks. He should be giving motivational talks. If you're 5'3",
Yeah.
to play as long as he did at the competitive level in the NBA, that's like freaky.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like no novelty. Mugsey was that, like, what was he like seeing him play in these pickup games, summer league and all that stuff?
It was awesome because the way he played in the pros is the same way he played in the summer league, that you couldn't dribble the ball up the court against him because he was so impactful defensively that you really couldn't do the things that you want. You couldn't, show him up on the basketball court because he'd steal the ball from you and show you up. He was a pro for a reason, man. He was the ACC Defensive Player of the Year for a reason. He was the dominant player. He was second-team All-American as a senior at Wake Forest for a reason.
Right.
He played 17 years in the NBA for a reason because he knew how to play the point guard position. He knew how to get his teammates involved. He knew how to be impactful at 5'3". You looked at Charlotte teams he had when he had Grandmama, Larry Johnson, and Zoe, and Kendall Gill, and Johnny Newman, and Dale Curry. When they missed, the first person got the ball to is Muggs.
Right.
To push the ball up the court to get these guys shots, and he was that dominant. He was that dominant at 5'3". Trust me, some of the great ball handlers, Isaiah Thomas, Gavin Johnson, why even attempt dribbling the ball up the court against him? I remember I seen Isaiah play him. He just gave the ball to Joe Dumars.
He didn't want it.
He didn't. Why?
It's too much of a hassle.
It's too much of a hassle. Now, half court, now Isaiah can do what he had to do, but full court to drill the ball up against Mugsey Bouges, man, Doc always talk about it, how difficult it was just dribbling the ball up against him. It was tough for everybody to bring the ball up against him. Everybody.
So how did you wind up at junior college? Why didn't you wind up going to a big school? Like, what was your path to Florida State and inevitably the NBA?
I went to a junior college. I went to San Jacinto. I didn't academically qualify. I signed with DePaul coming out of high school, and I think me going to junior college at San Jacinto Community College in Pasadena, Texas, was awesome for me. It gave me a chance to leave home, leave Baltimore. Gave me a chance to grow up to be a young man. It helped me out a lot. So when I came home after my freshman year, I knew that I could play at a high level. I just got to get through this next year of, junior college basketball. I got through it. I became a player of the year in junior college basketball as a sophomore. Went on to Florida State, known as a football school, like you said, football powerhouse.
Right.
In the early 90s. And once I got to Florida State, I knew that we had a lot of talent. And you think about that team I had. We had 4 guys get drafted off that team.
Who else was on the team?
Bobby Sarah. We had a guy named Doug Edwards.
Okay.
Got drafted, I think, 12th by Atlanta Hawks. We had, like I said, Bobby Sarah. We had the All-American football player in Charlie Ward, who got drafted by the Knicks. So we had 4 guys off of football university that got drafted in 2 years. I was there. So the football was great. And I chose Florida State because of the football team. I love Florida State football. So I said I could see a game every Saturday. So that was cool. But once I got there on campus and seeing how Tallahassee was, and I enjoyed my 2 years there. My jersey's retired in the rafters there, only 2 years. But I had a great time. Going to Florida State taught me how to become a man. Taught me how to become a young man in this world. So I had all the people at Florida State that helped me to become that. To this day, I thank y'all.
When did you know you were ready to play NBA basketball?
I'll tell you what. During all the AU tournaments I watched the game. It was Duke against Georgetown. When Kenny Anderson came down and gave Bobby Hurley that move between the back behind the legs that to this day everybody talk about. And I played against both of these guys in high school. And I did well against both of these guys. Now I see these guys on national television and Dick Vitale just pumping them up. Dick Vitale going crazy. Oh, baby, hey, did you see that? And I was like, man, I can do that against these guys. I competed against these guys at a high level and did well against these guys. So once I saw that, and I just knew that if I take care of this stuff academically, I just get the opportunity, I'm going to take advantage of it.
Who were the other dudes that were coming up at that time? Kenny Anderson in New York. Sam was, he was
God.
A legend, and it was deserving.
He was good. He was Chips was real good. Chips was real good. But during that time, I knew I could. The thing I could do against all these guys, I can score against all these guys.
Who were the other dudes from that time?
Man, they had like Chris Jackson, Lateral Green. I was in the Lateral Green. They had a whole bunch of guys that came out then. That was like Greg Graham, Rex Walters.
Right.
These guys was pretty good, college ball players. You had James Hollywood Robinson out of Alabama, Nick Van Exel out of Cincinnati. Had a lot of these guys was pretty good. And man, Nick used to always talk about it because we was junior college guys. We used to always talk about it, man. Once we get the opportunity to get on that national stage, man, you got to do well. And I just always tell them, you got to do well. So my first year at Florida State, we moved into the ACC conference. Because Florida State was in the Metro Conference. And me being from Baltimore, ACC country, so I was like, oh, this is ideal for me. This is where I have to go at. So I could play against the Duke, the North Carolina, the Marylands, Wake Forest, NC State, Clemson, all these great Atlantic Coast Conference schools, man. And once I made that decision to go to Florida State, and we moved into the ACC conference, it was over.
What was it like? You talk about, you hear about, and I've seen it for my whole life watching basketball, playing in Duke with them fans out there.
Outrageous.
Are they nuts?
They're nuts.
Is that the craziest place to play basketball you've ever played, college and pro?
It's the craziest place because it's so small.
Is it small? I've never even been in there.
It's too small. It's like a high school gym, a nice high school gym, and the fans, the student body is unbelievable. I mean, they have that 6 man is their student body because they
can almost touch you,
they're
right?
Cameron crazies.
They're
what they
nuts.
call them, the Cameron crazies. But it's all the fun. As a college student athlete, man, it's all the fun, man. It was all fun. But they got into it. They really got into it. Plus they had a good team. They had Chris Laettner, who I think was one of the most outrageous, great college basketball players, man, that I've saw.
Right.
He was that good. He could shoot the three. He can post you up. He made every damn free throw. He got every big rebound, and he was white and he was tough.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the observation of there's no tough white guys, that's bull. Because Kristen Laettner was one.
This whole thing, you're talking about college and your career in college, and you named all these college players, and Laettner probably being one of the best, most prolific college players. Now, so many of these dudes are in such a rush, and as they should. It's a dream come true to come into the NBA. When you see these one and done players come into the NBA, who are projects, who are winging of prayers, they're good in college, they're malnourished, they need to be eating In-N-Out burgers, their games aren't ready to play in the NBA, and now you're a coach. Are you worried about that? Like, because when you see these kids coming in, like the kid Ingram, good player, he not going to be. You don't really know what he's going to be until 3 years. Do you think these kids should stay? Like, what is your mentality on it now after being a player for so long and now a coach? And you have a say in, this kid's good from this school, this kid's that good in that school. Like these one and done players, what is your opinion on it?
I think you got the right. We live in America. You know what I'm saying? You got the right to do whatever you want to do, but. It's more failure stories than more success stories. These guys coming out one and done, because when you come out one and done, it's the mental aspect of it. You gotta have some physical aspect of it. It's just but the mental part of it. And I remember John Wall, who was the #1 pick, and I had him in Washington. I was just coaching Washington, and he was so good just doing one thing, just running past everybody. And I told him, like in December, I let him do it the first month of the season. I say, hey, man, listen here. You're going to kill yourself. You're playing 39 minutes a night. You can't be the fastest guy on the court for 39 minutes. He didn't understand that his rookie year.
What did you mean by that?
I meant that slow down. Pick and choose when you use this 4.24 speed you have. Pick and choose when you use it. And once he realized that and the game slowed down for him after his second year, and we got him some better players to play with him, I told him, I said, hey, man, the sky's the limit for you. I said, the sky's the limit for once. Now he's slowing down. Now he sees the game as a point guard, not as a road runner. He pick and chooses when he uses his speed. And he's going to be an all-star until they get tired of being an all-star. He's that good. He's that good. But at first, it was an adjustment period. You got to let a guy who was the player of the year in college basketball and came into with all these accolades, you got to let him test his own waters out first. You got to let him see that what he was doing in college and he did all his life is not working. Right. It's not working. And that's what I did as a coach. I'm a former player, and I just watched him say, okay, you can't just say, no, you got to do it this way his first day at camp. You got to do it this way. You got to let him see to do it his way. Then when his way is not working, then you will him in. Right. That's what I did for the whole year. Everybody kept saying, John Wall ain't better. What's Sam teaching him over there? What's Sam teaching him? He was that good to get to be the number one pick. You don't be the number one pick by mistake. Right. You don't be that by mistake. So when people kept saying, well, what's Sam doing to him? He ain't teaching nothing. Sam ain't teaching nothing. Because I let him take his own course. Right. That when it was time for him to say, man, all right, I'm ready. It was easy. It was so easy to teach him the game. It was so easy. It was so easy to teach him the game after that because he knew that what he was doing wasn't working. Right. He still got 17 points. He still was the rookie of the year. Right. He did that on his own. Right. But like I said, for you to be a primetime point guard and primetime all-star, which I knew he wanted to be, I said, you got to slow down, and we got to do it my way. And he gave himself to me. Like, okay, it's your way. He had his own personal shooting coach, and I understand that terminology, but
what do you think of that? These guys, like when you played ball, you talk about Baltimore, the summer league. Y'all played ball. I mean, whatever you did on your own, you shoot and drill. I don't know what. Like the whole atmosphere, training of the NBA has changed since you've been a participant into now. And guys have shooting coach, God bless them. They come in, they're getting acupuncture and all this stuff, and it's all great. Like, do you think it's necessary? Do you think it's over the top, or is it a little bit of both? Or guys getting too out of hand with like the drills and the running through hoops and all this stuff? Like, and you guys just were playing ball. Like I hear Dominique said, he said, "Yo, we worked out in the summer. We just played."
I say, I think to get better, I never had a personal trainer or a dribbling coach or a shooting coach. I was like Dominic. I just played. I played against the best ball players that I could possibly find and play against, like the Damon Stoudemires, the Tim Hardaways. I remember one year I went to Chicago to play in the Summer League in Chicago. So I heard the Summer League in Chicago is good, And I went out there and played a couple games, So you got
Tim was out there?
Yeah, he's amazing. You know what I'm saying? Just to see Tim with no structure, just go and play.
What was he like playing, guarding him? I mean, he's a major problem.
Man, he was a problem. He was a major problem because the thing the guy could do, he could shoot from deep, and he set you up. He can make layups, and he was tough. He was 6 foot tall. He was tough.
And low, right?
He was the bowling ball. He was a bowling ball that you had to really go back at him to gain his respect. You know what I'm saying? If you just come down and pass the ball and go through to the corner way, and he's attacking you. Back then, you couldn't wait because them guys was attacking you. You can hand check. Game was more physical back then than what it is today. It wasn't such thing of a flagrant foul. A flagrant foul calls for an ambulance driver to come bring the ambulance on the court, and blood had to be splattered all over the place before they get you a flagrant foul. So
do you talk about forget even the flagrant stuff, because I'm a Knicks fan, and on my '90s Knicks defined flagrant fouls.
Oh man!
But in terms of the hand checking, how much of an advantage was that to a defensive player, and how much of it being taken away does it allow guys to flourish? And like last year, and I love Steph. I fucking love Steph. But last year, after he won unanimous MVP, and then, he had the injury, and then he wasn't as Steph Curry-ish into the playoffs, people are saying he wouldn't have done this back then, and they're comparing. What is your take on that? First, so it's a two-part question. The actual hand check, the defensive rules that have been taken away, or the offensive rules that have been given, and like this sort of softening in this generation. Well, he wouldn't have been able to do this. He wouldn't have been able to do that. So break that down, what you think about that.
I think Steph had been a good player back then. Him getting 35 or 40 points, I don't think so, because it was a hassle just to bring the ball up the court, man. It was
because of the what?
The hand check. It was a hassle. Like, you had to really be tough to get that ball up the court, because guys used to put their hands on you, and in the playoffs, you really need a referee, because they weren't calling the damn thing, So it was just motto to motto, It was just like it was a battle every night. But I think Steph is like guys like Steph and Russell. Russell's been great during our era, because Russell just nonstop. He's in attack mode. Right.
That's going to translate to any era.
Steph would have been good, because Steph got a great skill that he can shoot the basketball off the dribble. He'd have been cool. Chris would have been good in our league back then, but they're getting the 20 points and 20 assists. Cause it was tough. It was more of an inside-outside game, and it was more a physical game.
And would you say it really actually was more physical? You could get away with more. You could do more. You could be more aggressive with the hand checking and the pushing and the forearms and the all that stuff. That's real, right?
When you had guards attack the rim as these guys today's games attack the rim, there'd have been guys on that butt. A lot of guys on that butt. There's been a lot of busted noses, because we had a chuck rule where you went through the lane and it'd be 4 or 5 guys touching you with a forearm, hitting you. So that was kind of drastic right there, just being a part of that aspect of the game. Michael Cage hit me so hard one time, and I was saying stars and birds and anything else. And Vernon Maxwell.
Did any Jerry Curl juice drip on you?
Everything. And Vernon Maxwell, I was stunned, and I'm on the floor, and Vernon Maxwell grabbed me and said, "Do not let them know they hurt you." And I had 2 free throws. I got up to the free throw line, and my head spinning. And no way I'm making this first free throw. No way I'm making this first free throw. I went up there, and I was a real good free throw shooter. I went up there, and I looked at the rim, and the rim, like, it was shaking. It was shaking. I got hit that hard.
Michael Cage was a goon.
Oh, he was a goon. He was a goon, and it wasn't no humping me up. It was none of that. It was looked over top me like, oh, he's done for the day.
Like some Clubber Lang shit.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, he's done for the day. Like, it was that. Think about it. Back in the day, your 15th man was most likely going to be one of your enforcers. He was the guy who came in the game and to do some punishment.
Right.
Not good punishment, some really bad punishment. And every team had that guy.
Right.
Like the Knicks, y'all had Anthony Bonner.
Right.
The guy came in, would run through a brick wall just to run. And that's was one of that. NBA Finals was one of the, for 7 games, I never seen 2 teams go at each other, because you had the number 1 defensive team with the Knicks and the number 2 defensive team with the Rockets. And you had 2 of the best centers with Patrick and Hakeem. We had Otis Thorpe. Y'all had Charles Oakley.
Otis was a tough guy,
y'all
too.
The Knicks had Anthony Mason, who's one of my all-time favorite teammates. Rest in peace, brother. And we had Carl Herrera.
Right.
Y'all had Bonner. We had Robert Ory.
Right.
Y'all had Starks. We had Maxwell.
Right.
So it was a battle. I remember it was at 9. The game came on back then, 9 o'clock Eastern time. I remember leaving the garden after the game, like 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning, because guys just exhausted after the game, just with ice on their knees, ice on their back. That's how physical that series was, man. It wasn't a cupcake. Guys was banging bodies. It was tough. We won that Game 7 in Houston. It was like, I'm glad it's over, because I can't take no more dealing with these guys, man, because they was a real physical team. And Doc Rivers was a physical guard, and he was hurt.
Right.
He was hurt. So, the Greg Anthony, Dirk Harper was the king of the hand check. So it was, like I just tell some of these guys, it was difficult, who I think is one of the all-time greatest Dallas Mavericks in history. I don't know why his jersey's not retired in Dallas, because he was a beast.
You just made me feel really good about that acknowledgement of that team, because that team, man, I could talk to you for hours, Sam. That team meant
physical, dominating team, man. Like when they had a dominating and impactful coach and Pat Riley, who just like it was a dogfight. They trapped every pick and roll, no matter. It was like you played against Knicks back then. You're like, I played against these damn guys today. Like, damn. Let's get this over. Let's get it over. That's how physical these guys was.
You're making me fucking crazy, Sam. I love this shit so much.
It's the truth. Like it was. Anybody playing against Knicks back then, they say that. Well, you gotta get ready for a dog fight because they are ready to fight.
Whew, man, you got my heart racing with that. One of the most. I wasn't even gonna ask you about this, but I just was thinking one of the most iconic things in Americana. And I just want your take on it as a player. There's two things I want to make sure I ask. I'm saying a mental note I want to ask you about, because you brought up Oakley, and you guys were the LA Clippers were there when that happened. But I want to stay in the Knicks Houston series. When did you fight? You're on the court. You guys are playing during the OJ chase. Like, what are your remembrance of that? Because you guys have no idea it's going on. When were you aware that was going down? To remind people, it was the 93 finals. Houston and the Knicks, and the famous OJ White Bronco chase is happening. The Knicks and the Houston Rockets and Sam Cassell are playing a championship basketball game. What is your memory of just that part of it and finding out about it, and then in hindsight being like, what the fuck is going on here?
Well, it was timeout, and they had the little, at the table, score table, that little monitor, TV there, and Kenny Smith, I was in the game, I'm walking towards the bench, and Kenny Smith said, man, they chasing OJ. I said, fuck you talking about chasing OJ? He's like, yo, they chasing OJ. The whole LAPD is chasing OJ.
And he just got it from the monitor.
He just got it from the monitor. And at the time, I still didn't understand what he was talking about. Like, I'm worrying about trying to keep Dirk Harper off my butt. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to keep Dirk Harper off me, And I sat down, and he was like, nah, they are really chasing OJ Simpson. All the police in LA are chasing OJ. And I was like, still didn't realize what he was talking. Like, okay, whatever. They chasing OJ. Get somebody to chase Dirk Harper off me. You know what I'm saying? That's what I need. I need somebody to chase. No, it was Game 4 in the NBA Finals. We won Game 3, so we up 2-1. And after the game, and that was the big thing,
And you guys found out about it afterwards, and you're.
So I didn't want to hear it because we lost. So we lost. Like, so we got Game 4. It's tied up. 2 games to 2 in New York. So I was like, man, I don't want to hear that. I ain't got no time for OJ right now. I'm trying to win an NBA championship. And got home at the hotel, and it was on everywhere. And the Sports Center wasn't like it was today, where it came on over and over and over again. It came on at 9 o'clock, and then it came on at 9:30, then it came on at 10 o'clock, Then it was off at 11. It was off.
That was it.
It was it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't 24 hours a day, Reruns now, it wasn't like that. But, I guess that goes down in my championship moment, They chased OJ.
Crazy. You're from Maryland, D.C. area, and I know, obviously he was a competitor of yours. I obviously was happy about it. Patrick Ewing finally.
Yeah.
It seemed like Patrick Ewing wanted to coach for so long.
He's going to do a great job, man. He's going to do a great job, because a lot of people think that he's not going to do a great job.
Why did they think that? Because he wasn't a great communicator as a player?
Some great ones wasn't. You know what I'm saying? He led by example. So he understands. He's been in this coaching fraternity for a long, long time. There's no egos more than NBA player egos. So I heard people say, well, how you going to go into a guard house, a small guy house, and get him to come and play for him? Easy, because I think if a guard wants to be in the NBA, who better to hear from than a guy who's been in the NBA for almost 35, 40 years. So it's going to be an easy adjustment for him. He understands coaching. He's been through the ups and downs. He's been the villain every way he played that when he played in college basketball. the Georgetown teams back in the day where, I'm a big Georgetown fan. To this day, I get mad at Big John, who's my man. He didn't recruit me because he said he didn't want the whole East Baltimore down in D.C. on his campus. But he's going to bring that. Patrick Ewing is going to bring everything that these great college coaches are going to bring. He's going to do it. If I can help him do anything, talk to a kid to come to Georgetown on behalf of him, man, I'm willing to do it because I know he's going to do well.
That's dope.
He's going to do well, man. He's going to do well. And like I said, I think every former player in the NBA that had a run-in that knows Pat, if Pat will call them for a kid that they know, they will make that call for Pat. Because that's how great a guy he was. You know what I'm saying? Never got an opportunity to play with him. Played against him in the summer league, played with him in the summertime, ramped down the court on the same team at Georgetown. But he's a great guy, man. He's going to do tremendous things Georgetown. He can bring Georgetown basketball back to get them tough ball players, the Perry McDonald's and the Reggie Williams and David Wingates, the Jerome Williams. He's going to bring the Allen Iverson kind of guy. He's going to go get that kind of guy.
Michael Graham.
Yeah, he's going to go get that kind of guy. He's going to get that. I'm telling you, he's going to do well, man. He knows what he needs. He knows the kind of guys that he need. I think John Thompson III, who's a great coach, but just had a different view of players that he wanted for his system, But I think Pat can go back to the Big John system. Like, I'm going to get the tough guy.
That Hoya paranoia.
No doubt about it.
It was beautiful.
Guy, you ain't have a fight, you can't play for me. You ain't never had a fist fight.
Ugly dudes.
You know what I'm saying? He gonna have
Georgetown was a bunch of ugly, mean, tough.
Mean guys who can hoop, man. Georgetown, people gotta understand, me being from Baltimore, Georgetown is a major, major brand. Georgetown, that means something, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to attend Georgetown, but Big John said, "No, you can't go." Because I grew up kind of, fucked up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But being from East Baltimore, I seen a lot of things. Grew up with around a lot of people who doing different things that I was doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But hey, I'm not here to knock them. But it's something that I wanted to try something different. Growing up in Baltimore, I can always come back to Baltimore. I just want to do something different, give myself opportunity to be successful in life.
That's dope, Sam.
That's all.
You guys, I talked to Doc about this. I talked to Austin about this. Oakley. For me as a Knicks fan, that thing. When I think about it, sometimes I don't want to over dramatize it, but that shit almost had me crying. The results of the Oakley situation. Obviously, he was in the wrong at some point, and the Garden was in the wrong, and the whole thing was everybody fucked up. But
you don't do the enforcer of your team
nah.
Oakley's man. People love Charles Oakley. Oakley is he's from Cleveland, but he's a New Yorker. Makes any sense?
Beloved.
If you didn't know Charles Oakley was from Cleveland, you'll think he's from New York. How he played the game. Tough, rugged, enforcer. Down for the crown. Everything that deals with toughness. Doc Rivers always have a saying, I don't want to get it wrong. He said, don't act tough, be tough. Understand that? Don't act tough, be tough. And that was Oakley. He never had to act tough. He is tough. And I played against him for a lot of years. And he's a good friend of mine. You know what I'm saying? Good friend of mine. Because as a rookie, he hit me a couple of times and I jumped up at him. He was like, "Boy, I like you. You got heart. But don't ever do that again." That was Oak. So to this day, when I see Oak, I acknowledge him. When he see me, he acknowledges me. And if I come to Cleveland and he's in Cleveland, I don't call him. It's a problem with Charles Oakley.
When you saw that going down, what did you see first? How did you realize it was Oakley? Were you is this a dream? What's happening here?
I didn't really see it till afterwards. And they said, we played them that night.
Right.
And they drug him out. And I was like, who is that? And somebody said, Oakley. I said, well, I know I couldn't see if they was on the farther end. So I said, I know it's probably 20 of them grabbing them because 1 and 2 ain't going to grab them out there. You can't, he kind of guy, it's 2 guys I know you can't stop. Jason Williams, my old teammate from New Jersey Nets, and Charles Oakley. Too strong. Strong individuals. So you ain't ready to stop them by just grabbing them with their arms. You know what I'm saying? It's going to take 10 to 12 people to grab these guys.
Was Jason strong like that?
Oh, he's an ox. Jason might be one of the strongest guys I ever played with. Like, Jason can take 145 and take it from the floor and lift it over his head.
Right.
One hand.
Right.
One hand. And I challenge any former or current NBA player to do that. And I guarantee they can't do it.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
What was your first oh shit moment when you were playing in the NBA? Like, who was the player that you grew up looking at, admiring, and then when you're 22 years old, you're a rookie, and you're like, you're D'ing them up? Now, I've had this with
Isaiah
acting.
Thomas.
Okay.
Isaiah Thomas.
What was that like?
Oh, wow. It's awesome. It was awesome. And Zeke was kind of, he hurt his hamstring, and he had this big old bandage on his leg. And I was like, wow, I'm on the court with Isaiah Thomas. But it was awesome, man. It was just awesome. Me just out there competing against him. And he was on one leg. I can't lie. He was on one leg because I think he tore his hamstring. He was just coming back from a hamstring injury. I think that was the injury that said after that one, he was like, I'm done. He retired. I think he retired during the season. I'm done because I can't do it no more. But it was an honor that one game I played against him because I always wanted to be Isaiah Thomas, Isaiah Thomas from Indiana when he beat North Carolina in NCAA championship, And he was the guy that I always like, oh man, like Ross Strickland, like that's like.
Talk about him. He's a guy we always forget.
He's the one, to me, he's probably the most underrated ball player in the NBA. He's in, it's a shame that he never can make an all-star team. Like Ross Strickland and Dark Harper. These two guys not all-stars. Like, wow. Like, if they're not all-star, like, who are all-stars? Like, in their whole career. So when I made the all-star team, finally, I gave all the props to them two guys, Rod and Dark Harper, because I was one of the guys that considered, underrated as a ball player. And once I made the all-star team, I gave them a lot of credit. Like, this, I'm representing Rod Strickland and Dark Harper for me. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
dope.
I experienced it, and I hope them two guys, and I'm representing them two guys for this weekend.
That's dope. Jerry West said last week that he doesn't, he's ready to give up his being the logo of the NBA. Let's just say, if he gives it up, who do you say should be the logo? Who is the best player in the NBA?
If he gives it up,
history. Who should be the logo?
If he gives it up, I don't think Michael Jordan should be on the logo because everybody knows that Michael Jordan. I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I think the skyhook should be on the logo. If Jerry West want to get that up, I think Kareem. Because I don't think to this day no one is going to catch that. That's going. What, he got 38,000 points. I don't think no one going to catch that.
Steve Nash, you played with him as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever imagine? Did you ever see this kid when you saw him as a rookie? Mm-hmm. Were you like, oh yeah, this is going to be a potential back-to-back? Was he back-to-back MVP?
Yeah.
I mean, great career. Whether or not he should have been the MVP both times, I don't care about that. You can't argue with his career. When you first saw Steve Nash, did you imagine that he was going to be as good as he turned out to be?
Nah, I knew he was going to be good. Because he had heart. Steve as a rookie, he had a lot of heart. He just wouldn't shoot the ball. I used to get mad at him so much. He'd tell you this day, I used to get mad at him. Like, listen, shoot the basketball, because he could shoot. He could shoot.
Right.
I said, you got to play this game like you played in college. I said, once you figure that out, you can be fine. I said, you got to play this game the same way. You can't be somebody that you're not. And the first year, he used to overpass all the time. He had shots because he wasn't. No, he thought he was doing the right thing. But once he learned how to do the right thing by shooting the ball, and he became solid and Phoenix, he got with D'Antoni and became in that system, high pick and roll, spread the court, and he's just making passes, and it didn't surprise me.
These kids, I asked you earlier, I want to go back to it. These kids, Lonzo Ball, his father, I've talked outwardly about it. He sort of put an X on. In my opinion, my problem with LeVar Ball is, first of all, you're talking crazy. You could beat this one, you could beat that one, but my biggest problem with this, he's put his X on his son's back, that he's not going to have to, he basically cashing checks on his son's going to have to, deliver. When he's saying he's going to be better than Steph Curry, when he's saying he's going to do this and do that, what is the biggest surprise that for any rookie, but let alone a point guard that's coming into this NBA when you got John Wall, you got Dame Dollar, you got Kyrie, Kyrie, he's nasty. Every team's got a nasty point guard. You got this gentleman over here, CP3.
It's going to be an adjustment for him. This is not college basketball where you find out of 10 games 2 really good point guards. Every night you're going to go against a point guard that was All-American in college too. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like Ty Lawson's not in the top 10 point guards, professional point guards. But you go back 8 years ago, Ty Lawson was a beast in college. Mm-hmm. Was a beast in college. He's another DMV guy,
Right.
So he was a beast. So now you're coming to the best possible league in basketball. And the point guard position in our league right now is stronger than ever.
We forgot to mention James and Russell. Every team.
It's ridiculous, especially in this Western Conference. It's you don't have to kind of play basketball in this Western Conference, man, because as a guard, it's a task every night, and just let's wait and see, to say that you can be better than this guy and that guy. There's been some guys that have rated high in college basketball and get to this league and just don't work out.
What is the difference? When these guys are rated, you've seen it, you've played with dudes, you've had guys on your team, whether it's head case, whether it's ability, whether it's work ethic, what is the difference between a guy, I'm throwing out a name, kicked ass in college, Adam Morrison? Every year there's first round draft picks, you're like, wait a minute, what the fuck happened to that dude? I hate to throw Adam under the bus, but what is the big difference for any guy in any, position that just didn't make the cut in the NBA?
In my opinion, is the whole thing is that fine point where how you played in college, can you play that same way in college into the pro system?
When you say same way, you mean can you get off?
That same mentality.
Is it a mentality?
It's the mentality. I think it's to be successful in this league is 70%, it's 60 to 70% mental.
Look, just to have that confidence, to have that freedom, to have that relaxedness.
I got to take this shot. If I miss it, I ain't mad. So I'm going to get this next. I'm going to get that shot 4 or 5 more times. I think a lot of guys who fail, great college players who failed in the pros, they lose confidence. Their confidence can go like that. You don't gain confidence like that. Gaining confidence is a period of time.
Got you.
But you lose it like that.
When you're as an assistant, can you tell when you're like a guy is giving you, like you said, John Wall, and can you tell when like this guy's in trouble, he's not listening, he thinks he knows his shit? Like, are you able to read that right away now as an assistant?
I'll tell you, for my first 2 years coaching John Wall, he used to call me, like I used to correct him with things on the court, and he's a great young man. He used to always say, "Yes, sir." Yes, sir. And me being fresh out of the league, I was like, man, don't call me that. Like, coach, just don't call me yes, sir. You make me feel old. And that was just John. That was yes, sir. Yes, sir. And he knew when I was really mad at him, he stayed away from me. That's the kind of rapport I had with John. Even my rapport with Austin Rivers. We got Austin Rivers. Austin knows when I'm pissed off, and he knows when. He knows I'm gonna tell him the truth all the time. It's no in between. I said, I don't care how many points you score. It's other things. And now, you can't tell me right now Austin Rivers can't play on every team in this league. But 2 years ago, you wouldn't have said that. I'm not saying it was because of me. It's his work. I just opened his mind up to certain things.
Right.
I had opened his mind. Listen, you can be the best defensive guard on our ball club. Then your offense gonna come. Yes, you can be the best defensive guard on our team, and we got Chris Paul, who's a great defender.
Right.
I said, you're going to be better than Chris Paul defensively. You could guard 6'6", 6'7" guys, you know. So when he got his big contract, you know, he'll tell you I was more happy than him. Like, man, you like you there now.
That's dope.
So don't be content with this. Let's go get another big contract. And you're 24. Let's get another one. You know, ride this thing till the wheels fall off. I played 16 years in this league, and I said, let's ride it. And that's the fulfillment thing for me. That these guys get these contracts. I know where they came from. Like the 3 guys I work with in my whole coaching career that's doing well in this league right now is John Wall, Bradley Beal, and Austin Rivers. You know, them are my projects. You know? Them 3 was my projects. And you ever get an opportunity to tell you, ask them. They'll tell you, oh shit, Sammy, like I was on John Wall and Bradley Beal every day. I'm on Austin Rivers every day. They see me come, they like, oh, here he come. You know, so I understand, you know, what it takes to be successful in this league.
Yo, Sam, I'm going to let you go. I appreciate this so much. I would love to do it again.
Anytime, man.
I wish
Anytime.
And hope the Clippers' luck. I'm glad that we're under the radar.
Yeah.
And to shock and surprise and make noise in these playoffs.
It's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun. I think our guys have the right mindset right now. We got to do it. We got to play, and it's going to be challenging, but I think this team is ready for the challenge.
Sam Cassell. Sam, I am the great Sam Cassell. This is like part 1. There's like 400 other questions I could have asked you, but this is good, so I appreciate it, Sam. And I just want to tell the people, Sam Cassell is an above-average ping pong player. Talks a lot of shit. He beat me in a three tournament, a best out of 3 tournament, and he did beat me. But he will. Please admit now, you were sweating like you were in Game 7 of the finals.
No
were you
doubt
not?
about it. But I won.
You won.
I won.
You won. But I'm here a lot. I get no rematch.
We both were sweating. Don't say I'm the only one sweating. We both were sweating. You came on your jacket.
Thanks, Sam.
All right.